So hey guys, I'm back again. It is Tuesday. I did a video yesterday on HeMan, and it didn't come out as clear as I thought it was. The audio was garbled because my phone that I'm recording these videos on in the woods was connected to a Bluetooth speaker. That I don't know why it does that. So a lot of what I said didn't come across. But short of it, I'm gonna do it in like a minute. HeMan is awful, right? For a lot of reasons, but the main reason a lot of people are seeing on YouTube from other reviewers talking about it is this movement in media, entertainment, where they promote and push a lot of woke culture, cancel culture, all that stuff. You know, you can put that all in one bag. Basically, women empowerment, multicultural cast. Heroes become black, heroes become women that were formerly white men. Um, and you have this empowerment, this changing of the guards, so to speak. I don't care if it is or isn't that, but what I care about is story and my investment in it. He-Man, you could see the subtleties of it becoming like that, or it already is. It's something from my childhood, and as my childhood, I looked at it as a cool toy that I wanted. That was it. It didn't change my culture. It wasn't a cultural part of my life growing up in America. It didn't represent American culture to me from where I was living in New York at the time. In the late 80s, early 90s, it wasn't like my end-all be-all. All cartoons, I could say that for, whether it's He-Man, Transformers, I could care less. It's just toys when I was a kid. I'm a grown man now. I go into it as entertainment purposes, right? If they want to make He-Man a lesbian or gay, I could care less, as long as the story is good. And I think people that are critiquing it are going about it wrong and saying it's woke culture, I don't want to hear it, they're ruining it for white men, basically. You could look at it from that angle, but you also have to realize you don't own the product. He-Man is not my product to, it's something I consume, and I can critique it from a consumer point of view, but I don't own the product. I'm not a co-owner of that product to say the other co-owners of it or the producers are ruining it, and I own a stake in it. I don't own any stake in it, right? I watch it on Netflix or wherever it comes on, and that's it. After a couple of hours, I'm done. My investment is done with it. I move on my life. Story is really bad, and I likened it to saying Hercules and Xena Warrior Princess, which is two things a lot of people know. A lot of people don't know He-Man for some weird reason. You know, you have He-Man and She-Ra. She-Ra's the female version of He-Man, and not as popular in back then for a lot of reasons. Girls, I guess, weren't into stuff like that at the time. Girls had their own shows on TV. As a kid growing up, I knew that. So She-Ra was sort of like a way to sell toys to girls. That's all it was. So what they did here, and my problem with it, you don't call it He-Man, Masters of the Universe Revelations, and then show us something else. That's my issue with it, right? He-Man starts it off. He's in there for like literally a minute. I don't even remember. I saw it a couple days ago. I don't even remember him becoming. I don't remember He-Man in this at all. He dies instantly, you know. And then the secondary characters, Teela and her sidekick, I can't remember any names in this. That's how bad the writing is. The characters are all kind of one-dimensional, and you kind of don't really, you don't remember any of it. What I do like is the Evelyn, her character development, and Orko's character development, really great. And they kill Orko off. I don't care if you guys are spoiled or not. It's a silly show. It's not that serious. Evelyn, I liked her character development, but they develop her character it does something I really like, and I give it credit for that. It took a cast of characters, right? And He-Man, as my childhood from where I remember it, I remember much of it, but He-Man was good, Skeletor was evil. And Skeletor had his crew of darkies, right? Everyone's like purple skin, brown skin, or they're monsters and beasts. And He-Man, you know, he has his cast of friends that help him out. But everyone kind of dies, and they kind of combine to save their universe. And Evelyn is a key part in that, and they develop her character where she cares about something. Even though she has differences with the good guys, they come together to solve problems. And I like that they show that. It's one of the highlights or positive of the show. What I didn't like is they go after this MacGuffin for 4 or 5 episodes. They get it, which is the sword, He-Man's sword. It's his sword. The sword of whatever. They get the sword, right? And they also find Adam, who's the human version of He-Man. And Adam's in this afterlife, and you call them the lesbian duo of Tila and her sidekick. They get the sword, and they have to come back through a portal or whatever. And instead of like saying, you know what, Adam, why don't you come with us? They kind of ignore him and saying, we got the sword, let's go back and whatever. And it's almost secondary where Adam's like, you know what, let me go. He comes back to their dimension or reality. And they're like, okay, here's your sword, become He-Man. And before he even does that, they kill him again. And, kind of curtains close, and Skeletor comes out of, he's hiding in a crystal shell the whole time. He wasn't really dead either. It's like they bring him back to kill He-Man. So it starts with Skeletor and He-Man killing each other. And then it ends with He-Man dying again. And without no kind of long stretches of us seeing He-Man. Even character developing He-Man would have worked. Even if and people like that, they always say, and as a former writer myself, Superman, I remember it's always been said, Superman and people like He-Man is harder to write in a story than, say, a Batman or Spider-Man, because you have like this all-powerful, all-omniscient protagonist, right? No flaws, right? You have to have kryptonite for Superman, or you have no story. There's no story for a Superman movie or storybook or comic book without kryptonite or someone that's equal or powerful as him. He-Man is the same way, where you have this all-powerful guy. His only flaw is that he has to transform into that. And you have this all-powerful guy that could beat anyone. There's no story there, right? So I guess they realized you can't really write a 5-episode He-Man thing. You have to put stuff in it, elements in it, to make it a story. There's other ways, and I guess that's what they kind of wanted to do, but I don't get the whole Tila thing and why you kill He-Man, get rid of him for most of it, and then bring him back to kill him again. It's a weird character circle of it doesn't work. That's my issue with it. So peel apart the woke culture and the cancel culture and the LGBTQT thing and making He-Man a lesbian or gay, I don't care. My issues is the storytelling could have been a lot better. Also, what's the point of rehashing this? I see if you want to make stories for a new generation that includes people of color, includes LGBTQT people, folks, includes a lot more protagonists than the white, blonde, blue-eyed male, right? And you have to admit, we've seen a lot of that for our protagonists in American culture growing up in my childhood. Every other thing from my childhood had a white, blonde, tall, muscular guy with blue eyes, saving the day or coming in guns blazing. And a lot of the antagonists were brown, mixed bag of people that are not white, right? So I like the change, but create new content, right? You're rehashing something from my childhood to promote kind of a new generation or new content for a new generation. And I have an issue with that. Don't do that. Just create something new. Growing up, as an adult now, I read a lot of good science fiction books. Go to Barnes & Nobles, go bookstore. Lots of great science fiction books you could make new series out of, right? You have stuff even as long ago as the Snow Crasher story. Really good science fiction book. Good hero, good heroine. You have a young girl who's a tomboy, right? You could make tons of stories, tons of movies, tons of series with that character. Can't remember her name, but great character if you want to promote this LGBTQT, people of color culture as saving the day, right? Lots of science fiction books, lots of comic books even. And I think DC does this more with, I think Suicide Squad, where you have a mixed bag of, unlikables. Marvel, DC, it's all rehashed, to the point where Captain America for me is just boring. And then you have stuff like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which they realize you just run out of ideas and you just gotta rehash it. So that was my issue with it. I'm sorry the video I shot yesterday didn't come out clear, but that's all I have to say on that. So don't knock it for being woke culture, right? It's someone else's property, and I think Kevin Smith, he's working for someone else. He's working for producers that are pretty much telling him what to do, right? I'm not sure. can't remember if he's a producer on this, but even if he is, he's a producer with other producers and other people kind of working as a team, right? It's not Kevin Smith's project. It's a team of people around him. So he has to answer at the end of the day to people that are paying for this to be made. And that's all I'm going to say for that. So don't get on Kevin Smith. I don't hate the guy. I don't know much about him. I know he's done some cool stuff in the 90s. A couple decades ago, he's done a lot of cool stuff. But this wasn't one of his best work. But I don't think it should be the end of him, you know.